Hey everybody, it's Stefan Mischuk with KillerSites.com. In this quick little vblog, I'm going to answer one of the oldest questions in the nerd world, something that's been bothering people for a long time. And that question is, which is better, Mac or PC? I use both and for years now. And right now I use the two best laptops on the market for in each camp. I have the MacBook Pro with the Retina display and the SSD drives, and I have the Samsung Series 9, the second generation, again with the SSD drives. The first thing I want to point out is that if you're going to get a new computer and you have a few extra dollars, I highly recommend that you get an SSD based system. And SSD, just in case you don't know, is a solid state drive. They are the new form of hard drives, no moving parts, and they move incredibly fast compared to normal hard drives. Incredibly fast meaning that your whole computer is going to seem light years ahead of any other machine. It's just going to move so quickly, because what a lot of people don't understand is that reading and writing to the hard drive is always happening, even with normal day-to-day operations like opening up websites and so on. So having a super fast hard drive like an SSD drive makes a huge difference in terms of the perceived speed of the system. So I highly recommend any SSD drive over a traditional spinning magnetic drive. Okay, that said, so what's better? Well, I'm not going to start a flame war, because actually I think now that each platform, whether it be Mac or PC or Windows, is neck and neck. They each have their pros and their cons, and in terms of web programming and web design, I would just go whatever you're more comfortable with. In fact, in the last several years, 5 years, I've been primarily a Mac user. And I first got introduced to the SSD drives with the MacBook Air, second generation. And it's like unbelievable. Once you go to SSD-based systems, you never go back to a normal drive. So recently, though, because of work, because of video work, really, I had to demo a bunch of new courses. I had to do it on Windows 7, since Windows 7 is still the most popular operating system out there. So I got the Samsung Series 9 laptop, and if I'm sounding a little slurred in my speech, my apologies. I burnt my tongue on something, so it's a little hard to speak sometimes. Anyway, I got the Samsung Series 9, which is an excellent computer. It's one of those ultrabook, ultra thin laptops. It ain't cheap, but for me, the price is worth it. Is it the best piece of hardware out there on the Windows world? I believe so. I could be wrong. Is it nicer than the new MacBook Pros with the Retina display? No, but they're a different class of computer. The Retina display Macs are much thinner than the previous MacBook Pros, but they're not nearly as thin as the MacBook Airs, which is the ultra portables, nor is it as thin as, of course, the Samsung Series 9, which is about the same size and thickness as the MacBook Air. So it's not a direct comparison, but regardless, so I got the two top laptops, I think, out there at this time. And comparing, top laptop to top laptop, again, it's neck and neck, and depends what you like. Like, big advantage that I'm seeing in Windows that really has surprised me, because I haven't used Windows in a while. I hadn't used Windows in a while, rather. I was using XP up until recently. Again, the mousing features, the ability to mouse on Windows is superior than on Mac for me. It's just much more precise. I have better control over it. I just prefer the mousing on Windows. Another interesting thing in Windows 7 is this whole taskbar. It is superior to the Mac's taskbar. For instance, I'm doing it right now. I just clicked on the Chrome icon here, and just by mousing over the various windows, I'm able to go from page to page to see what's open and just flip to them if I want. It's pretty useful. Same thing with Internet Explorer, so I can just drop into whatever window I want to have. Another interesting thing about Windows 7 that you don't see on Mac is the ability just to maximize like this full screen. You can do some sort of, it's clunkier on Mac. Another thing you can do is just drag and push it to the top and it maximizes. Or you can push it to the side and it takes up that place. Or, you know, or you go to the other side, it does the same thing. So it's got some little neat features that I kind of like. Now, Mac features, the big one is, of course, you have very few viruses on the Mac, simply because the virus makers don't target the Mac so much, and also because Unix, which Mac OS is basically a Unix derivative, is harder to write viruses for, as far as I understand, although I am not a virus expert. Another thing that's interesting is that you have multiple desktops on the Mac, and I just find overall the hardware is nicer looking. Although I have to say the Samsung Series 9, and I'll shoot a little video I think of both machines very soon. The Samsung Series 9 I find to be quite nice in terms of hardware, comparable to the MacBook Air, I think. Let's see if I can find a picture of it here. Google search. So here's the model I have. It's not the best photo, but you get an idea. It's ultra thin, it's very slick. I really like the computer. So anyway, I'm not saying that Windows is better than Mac or Mac is better than Windows. What I'm saying now is that Windows and the PC community in general has caught up, not totally, but has caught up in many respects to Apple in terms of putting together a nice package. And when it comes to web programming and web design, again, it's neck and neck. One thing I should point out, you have the virus problem on Windows, but now Windows, you have the Norton thing. Well, Norton's been around, or McAfee or whatnot. And traditionally, these are really real pains in the butts because they slow down the entire system. But now with an SSD-based system, Norton doesn't get in the way for me anymore, and it scans everything real time and updates itself. So it's worth it to me, the extra few bucks, whatever, $50 a year or something. And you got some pretty good virus protection there as well. So anyway, that's it. I hope this video didn't bore you. Again, this is just an off-the-cuff vblog. I'm sort of stalling on starting to actually lay down some new courses that I'm about to build. There are a lot more work on vblog. So anyway, that's it. So if you're trying to decide what to get in terms of Mac or PC or Windows, it doesn't really matter in my opinion. Get what you want, but I would always get an SSD based system. That means the MacBook Air or the new MacBook Pros with SSD. That's the Retina Display screens. Or you get one of those Ultrabooks. My favorite, of course, was the Samsung Series 9. Although the Asus Ultrabook, I forget what it's called all of a sudden, it's very, very nice, very sweet as well. One last thing, with the Retina displays, the screens are fantastic. It's unbelievable how clear and how much resolution you have in that. It's almost a 3K resolution versus 1.5 with the with this brand new Samsung, although I'm sure that's going to be changing very quick. And, okay, that's it for the vblog. We're going to have some real tutorials hitting YouTube very, very soon.